if I want to copy and paste the sentence. So I will not be able to paste or imitate the sentence properly if I cannot understand the idea behind that. I hope you are getting it. एक लाइन है ना कि नकल के लिए भी अकल की ज़रूरत होती है. तो अगर मैं नकल कर रही हूँ और अकल नहीं है तो it makes no sense. So even if I used to copy the sentences, first I used to find out the reason that why the sentence is made this way. When it is about speaking in English language, there is always a confusion in all of our mind, and it's about grammar. How much grammar should we know? How much should we focus on it? I'm good at grammar. I can write well, but I cannot speak well. I should not focus on grammar first. Or there are many questions you already possess in your mind. But first, I'll speak just one line, and that's, first, I became fluent in English, then I learned grammar. I know it might be sounding very contradictory to you guys, because when we talk about speaking any language fluently, nicely, or in a manner that it's easily understandable to the people, for that you need to know the basics, right? And here I'm saying that first I became fluent at it, and then I learned grammar. So I'll be clearing up everything, and I hope you will be able to learn something from this video, and you will also be able to make your own strategy, because you cannot follow the same strategy I followed, because time changes, things change. Your mindset also depends that whether you will be able to cope up with that or not. So let's start now. Hello everybody, this is Tanya, your ESL coach. Welcome back to my channel. So before I start this video, I am recalling just one thing, and it's about my marks I got in the 10th standard. It was just 75 in English. I know for boys it would be so much more, because for them it's like 2 people can pass the examination for this 75 marks, but it was less obviously, and I might have gotten even less marks back then. It was the 10th board examination. So what am I trying to point out here is that I was also not good at grammar at all. It was also like a nightmare for me, because when you learn clauses, you know, principal clause, main clause and all, so it's very difficult to remember those technical terms, and it's very difficult to be accurate at it. I did not get that proper education, and especially in this language, that I would be so good with these technical terms and I would be so good with accuracy. It was not there. Every time when I used to open my English grammar book, because I had that for sure years back. So every time I used to open that, and I used to get just so pissed off with just by seeing the terms, technical terms and all, and I used to close that immediately, because I did not find that interesting. Why I needed grammar, I'll be explaining that. But first, you understand what I did to myself is learning a grammar properly, that you are aware with the terms. I give you one more very good example. Okay, so there is a term called question tags. For example, you don't like me, do you? So do you, then aren't we going anywhere? Oh, I'm really sorry. So I think we are going somewhere, aren't we? So these are the question tags, and earlier I was not aware what do we call this in the language of grammar, but still I knew how to use it. Still I could use that properly, or I could even explain this to somebody and teach them also. So this happens, and when you fall for, or when you pay too much attention to the technical terms of grammar, it becomes so difficult for you to cope up with all these things. Now you all may be knowing my journey throughout, because I have mentioned this already many a time, but I will try to make it shorter this time. तो जब मैं सीख रही थी, ठीक है, जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया, तो I would be saying the repeated thing, but for people who are watching this for the first time, for them it would be new. तो I used to just differentiate, ठीक है, differentiate करना चीज़ों में and learning a proper grammar, both are different. So now, as I said, that it was a contradiction, that first I became fluent at it and then I learned grammar. So now I tell you, when I was in that journey of speaking nicely or in a proper manner. So I used to differentiate a lot. For example, has, have, what's the difference? What's the connection with had? Then what is one fixed rule we can apply? So I know that this will also come under grammar, but I was not treating this as a grammar. I was treating this as a formula. I have been a math student and it was my habit treating everything as a formula. So I treated this as a formula and it was okay. Let me tell you one more thing. When you learn grammar, what do you guys do? Let me tell you. You do subject, object, and then you make the structure so much longer that it becomes a mundane structure. And I don't do that. I have never done that. I don't do it now even with my clients too. I don't do it. And I don't suggest anybody to do this way. Subject, object, it should be there. I know that if you're not getting it and if you want to understand the things properly, if you want to know the history behind it and all, then you need to know it from the very basic. But I don't do it with my clients. The reason being, subject and object, these things come. You can do it. The main thing that is making your sentence incorrect is something else. So okay, coming back to the point now. तो ऐसे has, have, had पे मैं differentiate करती थी. Then the same sentence को हम do, does से कैसे बोलते हैं, did से कैसे बोलते हैं. Now as I told you also that most of the things I learned and the thing that played a great role in this journey was teaching itself. So I remember once I was speaking with, I was not in the organization, it was just a community back then, before BSL. So there, I was speaking to a kid. She might be in standard 7 or 8, I'm not recalling properly. She was speaking so nicely. She was using did, do, and she was explaining a story, and it was not so perfect, but at least it was better. Means I was admiring that story very well. So for me, it used to be so blank for me that अच्छा ये did, do, कैसे, कहाँ पे क्या आ जा रहा है, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, right? तो फिर मैंने do पे थोड़ा रिसर्च किया, did पे किया, does पे किया कि क्या connection है तीनों में, what connection does or do these three things make together. So what my point is that I used to differentiate, and for every sentence or for every new thing, I had a question why. And on that just one why, I used to find 20 answers of mine. So I kept on doubting on the sentences. क्या होता है जब हम किसी चीज़ पे डाउट करते हैं तो हमें आंसर्स मिलते जाते हैं. तो I kept on doubting on the sentences that why the person is using this way. Is he speaking right? Or am I speaking wrong? So those questions used to be there in my mind, and then I started finding the solutions. But let me tell you, it may not work in everyone's case, because it's my habit of investigating the things always and observing the things always. If you think it will work in your case, do it. Go ahead with that. But I'm just telling you that what I did. ठीक है, तो ये तो बेसिक था और आपको लग रहा होगा ये बेसिक है, but let me tell you, ये has, have, had ना, और ये do, does, did, it may sound basic, but it can help you overcome many difficulties in English language. क्योंकि फिर ये has, have, had advanced में भी यूज़ होता है, then do, does, did also. ठीक है, so then I slowly my main focus was only and only observation. मैं observation करती थी, copy करती थी. See, अगर मैंने किसी को observe किया, if I observed somebody, और मैं उसे खुद यूज़ करना चाहती हूँ, if I want to copy and paste the sentence, तो I will not be able to paste or imitate the sentence properly if I cannot understand the idea behind that. I hope you are getting it. एक लाइन है ना कि नकल के लिए भी अकल की ज़रूरत होती है. तो अगर मैं नकल कर रही हूँ और अकल नहीं है तो it makes no sense. तो even if I used to copy the sentences, first I used to find out the reason that why the sentence is made this way. What else, what variation can I add there? Because suppose if a person said that I had 2 chapatis for my breakfast, so I will definitely be changing it a bit, right? I may be changing the dish and all. So I used to search, but हाँ, every single sentence search करना possible नहीं होता है. I can understand this, but let me make a bit shorter now. तो ठीक है, ऑब्जर्वेशन होती थी, कॉपी पेस्ट चलता था, लेकिन पेस्ट करने से पहले, इमिटेट करने से पहले आई यूज़ टू रिसर्च अ बिट. और ऐसा नहीं है ना कि हमने हर एक सेंटेंस को देखना है. नो, एवरी सेंटेंस इज not something that you have to take care of, because just you learn one idea, and with the help of that one idea you can create many sentences. Okay, if I say that have you visited that place, और if have you से अगर सिर्फ visit को change कर दे तो there could be many sentences. Have you called her, have you talked to her, have you had your dinner, right? तो बस वो कॉन्सेप्ट को समझना होता है कि हो क्या रहा है, कि यहाँ पे हम थर्ड फॉर्म लगा रहे हैं. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई डिड नाउ. ओके, तो अभी फिर से अगर मैं इसे कंक्लूड करूँ तो इट वाज ऑल अबाउट द फॉर्मूला. फिर स्लोली आई मूव्ड अहेड टूवर्ड्स कि लोग शुड कैसे यूज़ करते हैं, शैल कैसे यूज़ करते हैं, कैन कुड कैसे यूज़ करते हैं. मेरे मेन पॉइंट्स थे दैट आई यूज टू हिट और आई यूज टू फोकस ऑन, और दैट स्टार्टेड बिकमिंग माई टारगेट. आई वॉज फोकसिंग ऑन स्टेप बाई स्टेप. ठीक है, पहले मैंने ये बेसिक्स क्लियर किए. ठीक है, अब थोड़ा कुछ अलग ऐड करते हैं. ठीक है, नाउ आई रिकॉल वन मोर सेंटेंस. आई वॉज टॉकिंग टू अ पर्सन और उससे मुझे आई रिसेंटली गॉट टू नो कि ही के साथ नो नहीं आता, ही के साथ नोज आता है. कि जब कोई बात वो जानता है, कि वो जानता है, ही नोज दैट. तो आई वॉज सो हैप्पी दैट आई गॉट टू नो कि अच्छा ही शी इट है तो उसके साथ हम एस और ई एस का फॉर्म लगाएंगे, दैट इज़ V5 लगाएंगे. V5 मुझे उस टाइम पे नहीं पता, तो मुझे बस इतना पता है कि एस और ई एस लगाना था. एंड इट हैज़न्ट बीन सो वाइल, आई थिंक जस्ट 4 years बैक, प्रॉबली 4 or 5 years बैक. तो मुझे ही नोज, जब मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई एंड द पर्सन कॉल्ड मी, तो मुझे लगा कि ठीक है चलो इसे यूज़ करते हैं. तो डेलिबरेटली आई brought that sentence in that conversation and I said that no, he knows about that, and I felt so happy कि अरे मैंने उसे यूज़ किया. तो ये छोटी छोटी चीज़ें कब इसने बड़ा रूप ले लिया, आई डोंट इवन नो. इट्स ऑल इट्स गुड, इट्स ब्लेसिंग एंड ऑल. तो वही मैं कह रही हूँ कि मैं हर एक चीज़ को नोटिस करती थी कि कौन क्या कर रहा है, कैसे कर रहा है, क्यों यूज़ कर रहा है, हाउ आई कैन इम्प्लीमेंट इट, एवरीथिंग. देन आई सेड कि उसके बाद स्लोली आई मूव टूवर्ड्स should, could, will, would, then उसके combinations and all. Now when the time came when I started feeling comfortable, I started surviving in the conversation in a group very well. Then I started my teaching career, of course. So you know very well that for teaching you need to have answers with you, because your clients may ask you n number of questions. And you have to be ready with your answers. If you are not ready with your answers, then you know what happens. So just in order to answer them properly, just in order to impart nicely what I'm saying across, I learned all those things. Okay. So yeah, grammar को उसी हद तक treat करना है. We have to treat grammar in a way or according to your need, I would say. You don't have to give so much priority to it. You don't have to glorify it too much. That would hinder your progress. That would hinder your fluency and your growth, how you are enhancing this language. It should not hinder that. Let me just tell you. You don't need to know कि अगर हम बोल रहे हैं that you like me, don't you? अब नहीं जानना है कि ये क्वेश्चन टैग है. इफ़ यू आर कंफर्टेबल विद दीज सेंटेंसेज यू डोंट नीड टू नो इट. ठीक है, अगर मैंने एग्जांपल दिया, अगर आपको पता है कि ही हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं एज अ फैक्ट कि वो ये बात जानता है, तो ही के बाद नोज लग रहा है, यू नो डोंट नीड टू नो कि ये जो नोज है वो V5 है. बट आई वोंट डिनाई विद दिस फैक्ट दैट व्हेन आई टीच आई ऑलवेज मेंशन V1 to V5, क्योंकि आई विल गिव माई बेस्ट, राइट. I will try to describe you with the technical terms also and with the general term too. Now it's your choice what you are picking up. आप क्या पिक कर रहे हो, it's your choice, right? मैं तो अपनी तरफ से बेस्ट दूंगी ना, that I can make you understand the things properly. I can impart my knowledge properly. It's my duty. And then it becomes your choice too. So I think I have mentioned all the things and let me recall if I should say anything. ठीक है, बस इतनी सी बात है कि ग्रामर को उतना ही समझना है जितना कि इट्स मेकिंग यू कंफर्टेबल. इफ़ इट इज़ बिकमिंग लाइक अ नाइटमेयर फॉर यू, इफ़ इट इज़ बिकमिंग सो मच दैट you are judging your lines a lot, you are doubting your sentences, then skip it. Then फिर वही एक last option बनता है, then you are left with the only option is that keep speaking and you can take the help of somebody if somebody can correct you and all, but I would again say listen a lot, observation, and also speak, record and hear how you speak. क्योंकि आपको खुद ही नहीं पता आप कैसे बोलते हो, then what others can expect from you, right now I'm shooting this video. I'll definitely be seeing after finishing this recording that how I spoke. So at least you should know how do you speak, how do you sound when you speak, and the self-realization should be there. One thing I would strongly want to mention here, and you should also consider, is no matter what people say, think in English. No matter what people say that there should not be translation, because I know that literal translation of things is not possible, and I don't even do that. I don't ask anybody to do it even. लेकिन वो कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में होता है, क्योंकि वी हैव अ फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज एंड वी नो हाउ टू इमेजिन द थिंग्स. जैसे अभी मैंने एक सेंटेंस बोला ना कि वो जानता है इस चीज़ को, ही नोज़ दैट, तो ही नोज़ दैट में शायद मेरी उतनी फीलिंग नहीं आई होगी उस टाइम पे जितनी कि इस पे आई कि वो इस बात को जानता है. वाई? बिकॉज इट्स माई फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज. तो जो हमारी फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज होती है हम उसको फील करते हैं, हम उसको एब्जॉर्ब कर सकते हैं अपने नर्व्स में, एंड दिस इज हाउ इट गोज़. Feeling is also equally important, because you are speaking like a robot. You are not understanding what you are saying. You don't have any idea that how you can step forward. It makes no sense. So first language is equally important for you. Then later you start shifting and you just start to focus on the delivery part and things start to work. Okay? And last tip before we go is speak slow. Take pauses, follow the modulation, make it little bit dramatic, keep a warm smile on your face, and it's just all good. Thank you everybody. I hope you could extract something from this video, something helpful, and I always repeat, make your own strategy. Pen and paper का use हमें करना पड़ता है, right? Why are you saving your money? So try, write it, and then implement. Thank you so much everybody. See you soon in the next video with another great topic. Bye. Till then, bye-bye.